Thanks for joining us here at Enjoy the View Travel, and welcome to the channel. This week's View on Travel Season 2 starts now. Hey, it's Brittany with Enjoy the View Travel. Welcome to this week's View on Travel. We're going to start out with a couple of updates for Enjoy the View Travel. So upcoming cruises and trips. So for 2025, not much has changed yet. We are toying with the possibility of a little short road trip in the summer. So I'll keep you up to date on that when we decide on something. Also, we still have the cruise coming up in October to New England and Canada. And heads up, if you're interested in taking that exact cruise, go ahead and reach out to me because prices have dropped. I will talk about that a little bit more in today's episode, but prices have dropped. So if you're interested in that cruise, let me know and I can get you some pricing information. So for 2026, nothing is booked yet. We are still just thinking about what we want to do for 2026. And it's definitely not too early to get in for 2026 prices or even 2027. We do not have anything booked yet for 2026. However, we're looking at a spring break cruise, our family trip that we do every year. We're looking at options for either summer, fall break, or maybe even Christmas. We'll see what's available then. And then for 2027, we don't have anything booked yet then. And if we don't find anything that we really, really want to do for 2026, we're talking about maybe doing something a little bit bigger in 2027. So I will keep you updated on what we decide to do. Well, if you have not seen this footage yet, it is all over YouTube, so definitely go look it up. But this Mexican ship, it's a Mexican Navy ship, I think is what it said it was. And it hit the Brooklyn Bridge this past Saturday. There are plenty of videos to be seen, so definitely go check that out. Lots of commentary from people who were taking video too. So unfortunately, there were 2 people who were killed and like 19 injured. So there were 277 passengers on board when it did strike the Brooklyn Bridge. It appears that there was a power failure is what the initial report was. However, you do see all of those lights on. So that's kind of suspect that there was power failure with all the lights on as it hits the bridge. It is currently under investigation. Oddly enough, this was a training cruise for this ship. So that's very interesting and some very hands-on training that you probably wouldn't normally get. I'm not sure that's what they meant by training. So there doesn't appear to be any visual damage to the bridge itself. Now the bridge was closed briefly in both directions so that they could do an initial inspection for it. It has been reopened. Gosh, I can't imagine being on that bridge and seeing the mast of that ship coming at the bridge and you are stuck in traffic on the bridge. I mean, I have a bridge phobia and this does not help that at all. They are going to continue inspections on the bridge in the upcoming days and probably weeks, just as a precaution to be sure that there are no signs of any structural damage on that. And the ship itself is being held at one of the New York piers while they're doing the investigation. So quite an interesting time in Brooklyn. Explora Journeys is adding Alaska to its itinerary in 2027. It's going to sail from early May to early September. Embarkation is going to be in Vancouver or in Seward, Alaska. I am super excited about this. So coming in fall of 2027 is Perfect Day Mexico. Now, I haven't been to Perfect Day at Coco Cay yet, or Coco Key, because I was going when COVID hit, and then I just haven't been back, or haven't been back on Royal yet. So, but they are going to have the longest lazy river, and if you do the whole entire river, it's going to take like an hour, and that to me just sounds like heaven. There's also going to be a water coaster slide that is supposed to be like the longest one. So it is going to cover 200 acres in the Mexican Caribbean. You can expect multiple neighborhoods on this island of theirs. And the neighborhoods will include 24 bars. 6 of them will be swim-up bars. There are going to be 12 eateries, 30 plus water slides, 2 miles of beaches to walk along, which is one of my favorite things to do. There's going to be an exclusive beach club that has a heated infinity pool. Bookings are going to open this fall. So fall of 2025, bookings will be opening for the fall of 2027. This port is going to be included in the Western Caribbean cruises that sail from Galveston, New Orleans, and Florida. So visit me and enjoytheviewtravel.com to get on the list for booking this fall for the fall of 2027. Well, Real ID rolled out almost 2 weeks ago. So how is it going? Well, it seems to be going rather smoothly. So it also seems that enforcement is varying from airports to airports. So are you still subject to additional screening? Yes. Should you still give yourself plenty of time if you don't have a real ID and a passport? Yes. So what I'm hearing is that some of the airports, TSA is giving you a pamphlet that explains Real ID and saying that in the future, you will not be able to travel without a Real ID or a passport. Make sure that you are getting that if you have not already. I have already told you guys that I am waiting to get mine when my driver's license expires because I have a passport. So therefore, I don't really need a Real ID yet. But there are other reasons besides flying that you might need a Real ID. Some federal buildings, I'm understanding that you won't be able to get into without a Real ID. And I guess in that situation, a passport wouldn't do you any good. But for flying purposes, which is what I would need a Real ID for, I have a passport that is still good. So yes, make sure that you are getting your Real ID if you need to. We'll continue to watch this and see how it continues to go. And if it gets any smoother or if, it just fades into the background because it's going so well. So we'll hope for the latter part. Well, poor Newark Liberty International Airport. They just can't seem to catch a break. Since about late April, they have had some major issues with their air traffic control, radar, and communications equipment. They have been struggling with massive delays. Airlines are limiting flights, or in some cases, halting flights. Until all of this gets sorted out, I am suggesting to my clients that they fly into a different airport. With major delays, cancellations, airlines pulling out for a time being, it's just it's a big headache. And it's a big chance to take. So right now, if I have any clients that are having to fly to this area, I am recommending that they fly to a different airport and then find a different alternate way to get to their location that they need to be at, whether that be Uber, train, and taxi, what have you. But if you like our content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit those buttons so that you don't miss our next episodes. Well, you knew we'd be talking about this again sometime this year. So far, we're going to do an update for norovirus in 2025. So far this year, there's been 16 gastrointestinal outbreaks on cruise ships. 10 of those have been classified as norovirus. Now, the CDC says you can still cruise. They just want you to be vigilant and make sure that you're following guidelines on washing your hands, especially before eating and after going to the bathroom. So, a lot of people are asking why there seems to be an increase in amount of norovirus and gastrointestinal issues this year on cruise ships, because in 2024, there were 18 outbreaks total for the year. We are just in the middle of May and we already have 16. So why the increase? Well, the increase is because in 2024 and in 2025, there's a new strand of norovirus. And so whenever there's a new strand, there is typically an increase in the amount of cases. So it's kind of just like that catch-22. We always know that there is a chance of illnesses on a cruise ship, just like there are anywhere else, that there are a lot of people. So if you are doing your part and you are washing your hands, you are helping with this tremendously. I have been lucky enough that we have not had any issues on the cruises that we have been on last year or this year. So we went on 2 last year. We're going on 2 this year. Already been on 1. No issues yet. Plan ahead though. Make sure that you are taking some medications with you should you have any of these issues. So I have made myself a bag of over-the-counter medications to take with us when we travel, not just on cruises, but anytime that we travel. And it just goes right in the suitcase. And then I have, all of the stuff available for motion sickness, headache, cold, flu, stomach issues, all the things. You just want to take some. I will do a special post about that sometime and give you some more information on that and show you what I use to do that. We'll talk about that sometime, but plan ahead and take some medication with you just in case, because medication on the cruise ship is costly. Theme parks are dominating the top travel destinations for 2025, especially this summer. So out of the top 10, theme parks are taking 6 spots in that top 10 this year. There are several new theme parks that opened up last year or have opened this year. For example, Epic Universe. So tell us, what is your top theme park destination for this year? Let us know in the comments below. It's time for our travel deal of the week. I'm actually talking about deals this week, more than one. So it's never too early to start planning your next vacation. I've already started planning trips for clients in 2026 and 2027. So are there any summer deals left to be had? Of course there are. So let's look at Royal Caribbean today and see what is left for June sailings. Now, as you can imagine, there are not many options left, but there are a few. So there are some inside cabins remaining for a June 2nd sailing for a 4-night Bahamas cruise on Jewel of the Seas, starting at $641.80 per person. Voyager of the Seas has an Eastern Mediterranean cruise that is 7 nights. They do have a few interior cabins remaining, starting at $929.91 per person. That's actually a really good deal. It is a 7-night cruise in the Eastern Mediterranean, so that's actually a pretty good deal. June 6th on Jewel of the Seas, they have a 3-night Bahama cruise. Interior cabins are starting at $507.15 per person. And if you're looking for Alaska, believe it or not, there are still some available. So the June 6th sailing on Radiance of the Sea has interior cabins starting at $755.98 per person. And then if you're wanting to sail on a newer ship, they even have some of those. So June 6th, there is a 3-night cruise. Oh, I didn't put down where it was to. I'm assuming it's Bahamas. Utopia of the Seas, which is a newer ship. Interior cabins starting at $991.24. But wait, Their balcony cabins are starting at $781.74 per person. So you always have to look, because we always assume interior is going to be cheaper, but sometimes they will have specials on balconies and that they end up being cheaper. So there are also a few deals remaining for June other than this. So if you're interested in any of these cruises, or if you would like to check for other dates this summer in June or July, go ahead and contact me and Enjoy the View Travel for more details. All right, so travel tip of the week. So as a travel advisor, it is my job to continue to check pricing for my clients' cruise or trip to see if there are anything that they have already purchased that goes down in price, and we can adjust that price for them up until final payment. Occasionally, some cruise lines will even let you after final payment, but that's very rare. So in any case, up until final payment, we can adjust that if we find a better deal. So last night I just adjusted, our cruise that is going to New England and Canada that we are doing over my fall break. It went down over $800, which is amazing savings. And typically you're not going to see that kind of a price decrease, but I will take it. So my parents are also going on this cruise, so I was able to adjust both of ours. And so you have to check often, because I just checked last week and it was actually $100 higher than what we had paid. And so when I checked this week, it had dropped over $800. Somebody else in our cruise group on Facebook had noted that she went to go make her final payment and she checked and hers had gone down. And so I was like, oh, well, I need to go check this week anyway. I'll go over and see and I was like, I can't believe this. This is amazing. So anyway, earlier in the episode, I had mentioned that there was a price drop on our cruise in October. So if anybody's interested in that, please reach out to me, and I can get you more information on that if you're interested in going to New England and Canada. So always check periodically, okay, to see if prices have gone down. So even if I'm not your travel advisor, you can always ask your current travel advisor to check. Now, this is something they should do, but have them check to see if your cruise has gone down in price any. And even if you have booked directly with a cruise line, you can call and ask the same thing. If you have booked directly with a resort, you can call and do the same thing, and see if there is a price drop. So as always, if I can help you with planning out your next trip, please reach out to me at enjoytheviewtravel.com. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's View on Travel. And until next time, enjoy the view. Thank you for watching this week's View on Travel. Be sure to visit us at enjoytheviewtravel.com. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss our next episode.